Meghan Markle knows about the development from the DEI special mocking her pregnancy video from her contacts over at Paramount, since she does hold a history with them within the past 6 months, and is already warning and demanding Paramount and South Park Studios to put the development of this parody bit to a halt.
There's talk that the royals are going to sue over this episode now. Would you recommend they do that, Kosha?
No. Look, it's speculation, but looking at their pattern so far, they do seem to be rather litigious. It'll never work. The U.S. has a First Amendment, and especially the category of satire protects them, and they're public figures, so the threshold is very, very high to have any sort of libel case succeed.
It would be the best court case in the world, and then South Park could do another episode based on the court case.
Harry and Meghan wanted to sue the creators of South Park.
What'd they do?
They went at Harry and Meghan.
She's suing them.
And they're trying to sue him. It's like, don't fucking
you're suing South Park,
kick that hornet's nest.
All right. Now, according to reports, Meghan Markle was, quote, upset and overwhelmed by her portrayal in a cartoon.
Harry and Meghan have got the South Park treatment.
The Duchess of Sussex was distinctly unhappy about Matt Stone and Trey Parker's depiction of the couple. The Spectator had claimed she was upset and overwhelmed by the show and annoyed by South Park, but refuses to watch it all, despite it being unclear who its source was.
What the fuck are you two doing here?
Hello, Grandmother. We've returned.
Well, we're kind of packed. You snooze, you lose.
The dumbest idea in the history of the world is suing South Park, and that appears to be the course that Harry and Meghan are about to embark upon.
I don't believe a word either of them say about anything. And what's really interesting to me is following that South Park mockery of them, which really highlighted all their hypocrisy.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and their consistent attempts to be private by constantly seeking attention. It's hysterically funny.
Oh, God damn it, now the prince is playing polo on the lawn. Can you two keep it down?
Hey, you ever heard of a thing called privacy?
Yeah, nobody gives a shit. Will you two just shut up and go away?
With the parody focusing on Meghan Markle using a stuffed pillow and how it takes place on a film set, Markle was reportedly deeply offended by that, not just of course by that, but of course by everything intertwined, and is already warning and demanding Paramount to actually put this development actually to the wayside.
Well, you know what's going on. Someone wanted a lot of attention, and now they got it.
You know, people who want privacy don't do that.
Hey.
Did you know it's cold in there?
Yeah.
Must be an American thing.
It's not.
But wait, watch this. Amazing, right? This might be the smallest palace I've ever been in.
An apartment, so.
Yes, an apartment palace, I know that.
We have to get jobs. I have to start auditioning again.
You were on the very famous show Suits. More popular in the States than even Friends, you told us.
Yeah.
But the idea that you would be dumb enough to sue South Park, creators who've made their entire fortune off lampooning, creating controversy, and mucking in, is just crazy. It's the perfect example of the Barbara Streisand effect, which is you only amplify something by trying to suppress it. And while I know it would never work, the lawyer in me kind of wants to be like, what would happen if that went down? What would happen if they were silly enough to shake this hornet's nest?
It's so nice to have you back in London, Meghan. I've missed our little lunches.
We've never had lunch together, Kate.
Well, we must continue the tradition.
See? She wants to have lunch with you.
She doesn't want it. Let's just watch the fucking show.
Welcome back to Tea Time with Tina. So Meghan Markle's legal camp is reportedly in full meltdown over South Park's newest takedown, Respect Our Pregnancy.
Surprisingly, Paramount recently agreed to create a parody version of the Meghan Markle viral video where one segment of the DEI special is going to serve as a spin-off of the Respect Our Privacy bit. Both Parker and Stone already have the parody written and are actually working on how it will be illustrated and animated, and it is already labeled as Respect Our Pregnancy.
Now Meghan monetized Me Now manners later Markle. Once the poster child for PR perfection is allegedly revving up the cease and desist engine, slapping defamation labels on an animated bit.
With this garbage, where apparently Harry and Meghan want to sue the makers of South Park for being hilarious.
They have filed just around a dozen lawsuits, Paul. I think it's about 10 lawsuits, this pair. They've never seen a newspaper that writes something negative about them that they don't want to sue. So if they can find any colorable grounds to do it, I believe they will file a suit, although in this case, there are none. This is clearly a parody. This kind of comedy sketch has been upheld time and time again by our Supreme Court. I realize things are a little weirder over in Great Britain, but they've got absolutely no case. Their real problem is they've become an international laughingstock.
Let's be honest. If you've bought into the royal fairy tale, brace yourself. This isn't your grandma's teacup drama. This is a full-blown legal soap opera, and we're ripping back the velvet rope to expose celebrity image management's rotten core. But before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe because let's face it, I'm nothing without your support. Now back to the tea. What ignited the firestorm? A sterile hospital room, a hospital gown, and a pregnant twerk parody so savage insiders whisper it could be career-wrecking.
With the Meghan Markle backlash only growing in numbers the longer she decides to keep her pregnancy video on her social media.
Crouching tiger hidden hoochie video.
And then that whole provocative dancing, that skanky coochie hoochie dancing that she is doing is disgusting. Sit your butt down acting like that. The royal family should be ashamed of this woman. I'm pretty sure they are. Because a duchess, someone with a title, does not behave this way in public.
But instead of starring in United Nations goodwill videos, Meghan's camp supposedly summoned lawyers faster than you can say fair use. Nobody mocks your pregnancy like Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Picture this, a sterile hospital set. Meghan's avatar isn't gently cradling a bump. It's twerking. Yes, twerking, with a stuffed pillow shoved so proudly under her gown it screams PR prop. South Park's mission, take Meghan's respect our privacy spiel and weaponize it as respect our pregnancy.
Surprisingly, Paramount recently agreed to create a parody version of the Meghan Markle viral video where one segment of the DEI special is going to serve as a spin-off of the respect our privacy bit. Both Parker and Stone already have the parody written and are actually working on how it will be illustrated and animated, and it is already labeled as Respect Our Pregnancy.
A brutal takedown of childbirth as brand launch. First gag, Meghan shrieks at her cartoon nurse over a wrinkled blouse, demanding, "I will not have my brand photo leaked with wrinkles." Because a 3 a.m. fashion crisis is apparently a royal emergency. Priceless. She rails against intrusion while meticulously curating each narrative frame for maximum sympathy. So how did royalty respond to being reduced to a cartoon caricature? Unnamed insiders say Meghan's legal eagles launched a 3-pronged assault. Block the episode, rewrite the jokes, or leash the release date.
Markle was reportedly deeply offended by that, not just of course by that, but of course by everything intertwined, and is already warning and demanding Paramount to actually put this development actually to the wayside.
Blocking, rewriting, delaying, sound familiar? It's a power play straight out of Suits.
Well, I gotta go.
Good luck tonight.
Okay, cool, thanks.
And George?
Yeah?
It's okay to be nervous. I used to get nervous all the time before performing.
Okay, well, I'm not nervous, and I don't need any more advice from your days on Suits, so thanks anyway.
Leaked memos label the parody as emotional damage and defamation of character, dripping with lawyerly jargon designed to intimidate. Basically, if you want to dodge a PR grenade, pay up or face an avalanche of court filings. Yet here's the hypocrisy. Meghan, advocate for privacy, now alleges that her comedic depiction crosses a legal line. Punchy question. Since when does royalty get to rewrite satire? Meghan's team strong-armed studios executives, warning that siding with South Park could scorch their reputations. Cue a frenzy of boardroom threats, confidential phone calls, and press leaks timed to maximize pressure. One studio insider quipped, "It felt like a hostage negotiation, but the hostage was free speech."
I believe they will file a suit, although in this case, there are none. This is clearly a parody. This kind of comedy sketch has been upheld time and time again by our Supreme Court. I realize things are a little weirder over in Great Britain, but they've got absolutely no case. Their real problem is they've become an international laughingstock. And for that, they don't have South Park to blame. They have only themselves to blame.
Sources say lawyers flagged the twerk scene and floral gag montage as exceeding fair use and inflicting undue emotional distress. They claimed hypothetical focus groups were left violated by the stunts. But seriously, if a dancing cartoon can topple your brand, what does that say about your own confidence? Now Meghan sent a cease and desist demanding removal of any real Meghan quotes, essentially telling a comedian, "You may quote me, unless I object." Yet even as lawyers inked their demands, whispers circulated that Meghan privately wondered if the legal fireworks were worth the PR fallout. A close associate allegedly texted, "We're about to create the biggest tabloid train wreck since Diana." Welcome to the irony of controlling the narrative. You often end up fueling it. Hold your gavels. U.S. law protects satirical parodies of public figures under the First Amendment and fair use doctrine, a legal fortress. Remember the 2023 Worldwide Privacy Tour parody? Rumors of a lawsuit fizzled. Satire won.
Isn't it true, sir, that your questionable wife has her own TV show and hangs out with celebrities and does fashion magazines? What are you suggesting? Well, I just think some people might say that your Instagram-loving wife actually doesn't want her privacy.
I'm sick of hearing about them. We just kind of don't care about some dumb prince and his stupid wife.
Remember Campbell versus Acuff Rose Music. The Supreme Court declared that parody, even of copyrighted music, is fair if it offers transformative commentary.
In 1994, the Supreme Court of the United States heard a landmark case involving two live crew, Acuff Rose Music, Inc., and the transformative value of parody in relation to fair use protections. The dispute centered around two live crew's commercial parody of Roy Orbison's song "Oh Pretty Woman," which they created in 1989 as a comical satire, even though permission was denied by Acuff Rose. Despite this, they released their parody on their album As Clean as They Wanna Be, crediting the original authors and publisher. Initially, the Court of Appeals ruled against Two Live Crew based on the commercial nature of their parody, assuming that it made the use of the original work unfair. However, the Supreme Court reversed this decision, emphasizing that the commercial character of a parody is just one factor to consider in determining fair use. The court ultimately found that Two Live Crew's parody had transformative value and was not automatically excluded from fair use protection.
South Park's take transforms Meghan's video into a critique of celebrity branding. That's textbook fair use. Also in Hustler magazine versus Falwell upheld parody of a public figure's personal life. Leibovitz v. Paramount defended a celebrity caricature in an ad spoof. The message, humor is bulletproof. Yet Meghan's camp wielded lawyers like Excalibur, only to discover comedy cuts deeper than any sword. Legal scholars tell us the real issue isn't defamation, it's cost. Demand letters cost lawyers thousands of dollars. Defending a fair use suit costs studios far more. It's less about winning in court and more about chilling dissent. But here's the kicker. When satire targets the powerful, the court of public opinion often delivers the knockout blow. And if you need a reminder, look at the backlash when other celebrities threaten comedians. The internet rallied behind the comics every single time. Because when the powerful police jokes, we all lose. Instead of cowering, Parker and Stone went full Godzilla on Meghan's demands, tightening the script, sharpening animations, and letting the jokes fly harder. Two heavyweight champions refusing to tap out. Now across town, Parker and Stone in a dive bar, beers in hand, laughing at the absurdity. David versus Goliath. Except David's animated and Goliath bills by the hour. It's a showdown you don't want front row seats for. Numbers don't lie. Meghan South Park lawsuit searches spiked 500% in 24 hours. YouTube clips exploded across talk shows. Streaming numbers for South Park soared. Advertisers salivated as free publicity flooded in. Irony alert. Meghan's attempt to silence the skit launched it into viral orbit. Behind closed doors, PR teams panicked.
Now, there is no doubt about it that Meghan Markle's viral video created a new negative wave of backlash against her that resulted in many other studios actually deciding to put any kind of affiliation with her either to a halt or firing her directly.
Cold press statements, canceled appearances, postponed speeches. Brands hit pause. No one wants to be next in a hashtag war. UK tabloids feasted. The Sun screamed, "Duchess demands cartoon ban." The Daily Mail sneered at royalty suing cartoons. Canadian tabloids mined Meghan's past memes. US late-night hosts piled on. Stephen Colbert quipped, "They thought they married royalty until they married satire." Global ripples, UK royals smirk at American free speech fights. Canadians split between sympathy and schadenfreude. South Park's ratings spiked. But when the dust settles, will Meghan's image rise like a phoenix? Or will this spark a PR meltdown of royal proportions? Spoiler, neither side walks away unscathed. And let's not forget the casual viewer, the one scrolling through memes at midnight, oblivious to royalty's real struggles, yet entertained by a cartoon's ruthless glee. That audience decides the winner, every single time. On one side, a global superstar who mastered media and now demands it bow to her narrative. Other side, two animators with sharp pencils and sharper tongues, insisting no one is above satire. Is this clickbait controversy or a landmark for celebrity accountability? When did public figures gain immunity from parody? If a twerking cartoon can trigger legal threats, what happens when journalists dig in? Welcome to the era of legal chill, where lawyers, not laughter, set the debate. Rhetorical question: do we want a world where legal might mutes jokes, or where the First Amendment still roars? That answer shapes every future scandal. If every celebrity sued over Mockery, comedy dies. Late-night shows shrink, political satire stalls, and creativity retreats behind NDAs. Studios watch closely. If parody means unpredictable legal fees, they'll self-censor. Edgy projects shelved for safe scripts, this ripple extends beyond Meghan, touching politicians, CEOs, influencers alike. And let's not ignore the corporate angle. Streaming platforms analyze risk versus reward. A high-profile lawsuit can tank stock prices faster than a bad quarterly report. Suddenly, everyone's auditioning for the Safe Content Hall of Fame. This fight isn't just a twerk and lawsuit sideshow. It's a crossroads. Does power answer to people or slip behind courtroom doors? Grant celebrities the right to silence satire, and you silence us all. Here's the cold truth. Meghan's legal blitz isn't about defamation. It's about narrative control. It echoes her "my story, my way" branding that once made her a global sensation. Meanwhile, South Park proves satire outlives cease and desists. Yes, you heard that right. The real victim isn't Meghan's reputation. It's free speech's chilling when public figures weaponize courts. The hero? Every comedian, journalist, and viewer who insists legal threats won't silence power's absurdities. Let's be honest, if we can't laugh at the sanctimonious, what hope is there? When the powerful demand immunity from Mockery, we inch toward a world where only they speak, and only we listen. That's not a future any of us should accept. Dramatic takeaway. Don't let royal red pens rewrite your right to laugh. The moment we stop satirizing power, we hand it the final victory, an ending nobody wants to see. If you're craving more bombshell exposés, smash that subscribe button, ring the bell, and join us next time. Because when celebrities try to silence satire, we'll be first in line to expose the royal meltdown. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed my content, feel free to check out some of my other videos on the top of the screen. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed. Only on Tea Time with Tina.